The gongs and drums are sounding, and people are crowding into this spacious temple plazas. Palanquins, spirit mediums, and folk performance troupes fill the place, creating a magnificent scene in this salt-buried village. This is Taiwan's largest temple fair, where many different types of folk performance troupes can be seen parading for miles around. What is the story behind this huge pilgrimage and temple fair? This is part of the worship of the Wangye, or plague gods. This expansive saltlands area is the origin of the Wangye worship found all over Taiwan. As the tides come in and out and time marches on, the salt bed along Taiwan's southwest coast has nurtured a precious religious culture. Let's go see this small village on the coast of Taiwan and experience this panorama of local religion. The hot blaze burns away the risk of plague. This special religious ceremony is one of the rituals of Wangye worship. On the coast of Taiwan, many local areas pass on the tradition of the burning of the Wangye boat. They build a large boat, which will ultimately be burned to the ground. This is the manner in which early coastal settlers are said to have rid themselves of plague. The custom has been passed down to this day as a way for believers to go on a pilgrimage in search of good fortune. The magnificent spectacle of the burning of the Wangye boat has become a special part of life in coastal areas. As an island nation, Taiwan has always been influenced by the sea, leading to a unique maritime religious culture. The people of the island pray for peace and safety through this religious worship. Wangye worship is an important religious belief that is a part of the seagoing culture. It is especially prominent on the southwest coast of Taiwan, where people rely on the sea for a living. The Wangye have many names, such as Chen Shui, Chen Shui Ye, Da Ren, Lao Ye, or Dai Tian Xun Shou. But what kind of people are they, after all? As Taiwan developed, Wangye worship took on a rich diversity of forms. Influenced by folk stories and historical novels, the Wangye of legend may represent the deification of classic scholars or kings. Then, with the addition of some orthodox characteristics, they were transformed into loyal and patriotic heroes. Legend says that when these figures came to a certain place and interacted with their devotees there, they stayed and became the guardian deities of that locality. Wangye temples are founded on a variety of systems. The most widespread are the 12 Plague Gods system and the 5 Plague Herald system. Among the many Wangye temples in Taiwan, Nkstemple Complete Temple, which honors 5 plague gods, is the most representative. It is known as Taiwan's headquarters, Wangye Temple. Going back more than 300 years in time, on a night when the moon was bright, dozens of fishermen on a sandbar heard the notes of gently flowing music. Out on the sea, they saw a large, three-masted sailing ship. This was the beginning of the legend of Nkstemple Temple. A large, three-masted sailing ship carried the 5 plague gods, surnamed Li, Qi, Wu, Zhu, and Fan, to Nkstemple, where it became the basis of the religious beliefs of the local residents. The Nkstemple Temple is located in Beimen Township in Tainan County, in a small and rustic fishing village. In earlier times, the site of Nkstemple Temple was a lagoon called the Daofeng Inland Sea. As the lagoon was filled with more and more sediment, the temple, which was originally on a sandbar, was finally built at this location. Since the inland sea was transformed into land, the people could now connect to this area by road. This made it much more convenient for Wangye processions and pilgrimages. The story of the 5 plague gods, plus the pilgrims who come here every year from temples all around Taiwan, have added a legendary aura to this small coastal village. The Nkstemple Temple that we see today is a Wangye temple with more than 300 years of history. It was founded in 1662, and it has been rebuilt and remodeled several times since then. The temple not only has a vast number of worshippers, but is full of historical and artistic significance. Now, let's get a bird's eye view of the beauty of the buildings and artisanship of the Nkstemple Temple. From the air, Nkstemple Temple looks like a large classical painting buildings and gardens filled with the atmosphere of ancient times. In addition to the temple itself, in front there is a large temple entrance gate. Nkstemple Temple was reconstructed over a 15-year period during the Japanese colonial era, forming the pattern of 3 great halls spreading across the front. Its expansive front, with fancy double-eaved roofs, influenced many temples that were built in the years that followed. The Nkstemple Temple has gable and hip double-eaved roofs with ridgelines that twist and turn in different directions. From above, the roofs are seen to overlap each other, creating a beautiful picture. The figures on the roofs make Nkstemple Temple appear very festive. Every piece of art on the main hall's outer walls and roof ridges has its own story and meaning. The figures on the temple roof were executed by Master Yezong of Tainan, and each of them is intricately made with its own facial expression. The roof above the hall's plafond is shaped like the octagonal roof of a sedan chair, giving it the name of the sedan chair roof. Stepping into the worship hall, you will once again experience the beauty of Nkstemple Temple's opulently carved beams. The worship hall's plafond is made up of countless small sandalwood joints, forming an intricate web. The pair of octagonal dragon columns at the entrance of Sanchuan Hall best represents the spirit of Nkstemple Temple. The partition walls on both sides are carved in relief with many scenes of mounted figures. The carving work is detailed and realistic, and the figures seem ready to leap to life. The partition walls of Sanchuan Hall include rare bamboo carvings in intaglio by Zhen Banqiao, one of the Qing dynasty's 8 eccentrics of Yangzhou. As you enter the inner hall, you will be amazed at the dado frames on both sides. Every part, the through beams, the brackets, the arches, is intricately carved. Centuries of incense smoke have given Nkstemple Complete Temple a mystical aura. Inscribed couplet boards are another special feature of the temple. The painted artworks in the temple have gradually become mottled over the years, but this weathered feeling actually adds to the ancient atmosphere. When you look carefully at the painted artworks on the walls inside the temple, every one of them looks like it is telling a different story. Nkstemple Complete Temple preserves painted works made by masters from the era of Japanese rule to today. The fine workmanship that went into creating the painted gate guardians at the temple entrance make them appear full of mystical power. In addition to the temple's roof figures and painted artworks, the money wall on the main temple's back wall is made of elegantly ordered coral stones from Penghu. It is said that touching the wall can bring financial fortune. With more than 300 years of history and the cumulative work of master artisans of different generations, every wall and every corner of Nkstemple Complete Temple holds precious artistic significance. Nkstemple Complete Temple carries on ancient traditions, but it also has a modern spirit. Nkstemple Complete Temple preserves to this day the traditional ceremonial cakes, which are so representative of local culture. They have become an essential item for every pilgrim who comes here to pray for peace and safety. The skilled chefs of Nkstemple Complete Temple combine local seafood products into a peace banquet that has the most authentic local style. The cute dolls of the 5 plague gods and other souvenirs related to Wangya worship give pilgrims and tourists a chance to take the temple's blessings home with them. They bring the gods closer to the heart of the people. Nkstemple Complete Temple intertwines the traditional and the modern and stores enormous historical value. Every year, flocks of whiskered terns fill the skies above Bay Men. Despite the long distance, they come here to pass the winter. Their arrival adds life to the southwest coast. On land, pilgrims come from all over Taiwan, just like the migratory birds, in a fascinating religious spectacle that could only happen in Taiwan. In the night, the sound of gongs and drums can be heard in a small village in Baymen Township. A folk performance troupe is practicing in the temple's front courtyard. Everybody's working closely together to prepare for the birthday celebration procession to Nkstemple Complete Temple. The birthday celebrations for the 5 plague gods of the Nkstemple Complete Temple occur in the middle of the 4th lunar month, the end of the 4th lunar month, the 6th lunar month, the 8th lunar month, and the 9th lunar month. As early settlers migrated to different parts of Taiwan, branch temples of Nkstemple Complete Temple were founded in other locations. The devotees of the Wangya at these branch temples around Taiwan start to gather at Nkstemple Complete Temple before the birthdays to burn incense at the home temple and to retrieve some incense ashes. Some amazing scenes can be observed in the Nkstemple Complete Temple courtyard at these times. The atmosphere is full of local flavor. The sounds of firecrackers signal the beginning of the incense offering ceremonies. The Divine General and the flag team take up the vanguard as the pilgrims enter Nksemple's wide temple gate. The large drums beat out a heavy rhythm, and all kinds of musical groups can be heard during the celebrations, playing traditional melodies. When a pilgrimage group arrives in front of Nkstemple Complete Temple, spirit mediums start to flagellate themselves, indicating that they have been possessed by the gods. The group is organized into shape, and the god's sedan chair is led into the home temple. The spirit mediums perform with the 5 treasures Taoist vessels of Taiwanese folk tradition to bring good fortune to the believers. When groups from temples all over the island come on pilgrimage, they bring all kinds of folk performance troupes. The lion and dragon dancers that are the most commonly seen folk troupes at traditional celebrations are here too. The 8 generals provide a mystical atmosphere with their Taoist vessels and different kinds of face makeup. These are performance troupe for dispelling evil spirits and protecting the people. Over the course of history, the appearances of these generals have changed in various ways. Unlike the 8 generals' troops, many of the other troops were used to entertain rural villagers, such as the drum dancing troops, and ox plowing troops, and perhaps the martial arts troops that were used by villagers for exercise and defense. In the past, most of the performance troops that accompanied temple pilgrimages in Taiwan were made up of villagers performing in their free time. As the times changed and professions became specialized, most performance troops became professional. The elements of many temple fairs have been given modern interpretations by such means as adding electronic dance music or dressing the divine generals in modern style. This allows for a fusion of the traditional and the modern. One performance troupe after another performs in the temple square, enlivening the mood of the entire event. This festive scene is something peculiar to the pilgrimage celebrations at Nkstemple Complete Temple. The temple is the center of worship for the local area, and it is the place where the centripetal force of the local residents is centered. The cohesive force of the temple is no longer as powerful as it was in the past. Amazingly, at the time of the Nkstemple Complete Temple's pilgrimage and fair, we can still observe the scene of a village or a clan worshiping together. As Taiwan's ethnic groups have mingled, worship at Nkstemple Complete Temple has spread to even more groups. In addition to the festive musical groups and performance troupes, Nkstemple Complete Temple is also a good place to observe traditional religious rituals. In the temple, they are performing the incense burner merging ceremony, an important part of a pilgrimage. The gods that have come from temples all over Taiwan to celebrate the Wangye's birthday congregate in the inner hall. A spoonful of incense ashes is scooped into the portable incense burners from the other temples, symbolizing the transmission and continuance of the incense flame of the Nkstemple Complete Temple. This is the reaping the flame ceremony, the most important part of a pilgrimage. After this ceremony, the devotees take the incense flame from Nkstemple Complete Temple back to their own temple. The incense offering ceremonies are considered complete after the gods exit the inner temple and the crossing the censer ceremony is performed at the Jade Emperor's incense burner. For many believers, coming to Nkstemple Complete Temple to worship is a tradition they follow every year. Before the day of a Wangye birthday, pilgrimage groups from all over Taiwan are constantly coming and going in big crowds, not even stopping at night. It turns this sleepy little village into a city that never sleeps. The nighttime Wangye birthday ceremonies are held promptly at 11 p.m. The ancient ceremonial rituals are followed, presenting a solemn and respectful scene. The ceremonies at Nkstemple Complete Temple go on year after year without interruption. The traditions are passed down to each new generation, making the Nkstemple Complete Temple Square always an exciting place to be. Inside the temple, believers are asking the Wangye deities of Nkstemple Complete Temple to go to their home localities to take care of problems or help them dispel evil and bring good fortune. The 5 plague gods, just like high officials in the human world, have a duty to take tours of inspection on behalf of heaven, in which they visit branch temples to inspect them. The most representative is the Gui Hai inspection, which takes place every 60 years. In addition to the scheduled tours, the Wangye of Nkstemple Complete Temple occasionally take irregular tours as well. In their most recent tour, they went to the Penghu Islands. The irregular tour to Penghu in 2008 was the first such in 86 years, which made it a very momentous occasion. With the accompaniment of divine palanquins, folk performance troupes, and pilgrims, the Nkstemple Complete Temple plague gods crossed the sea to Penghu for a 5-day circuit tour. Of course, every place that the Nkstemple Complete Temple gods toured was filled with the sound of gongs and drums. In the Wangye birthday celebrations and inspection tours, we can see not only an interaction between the gods, but also a chance for people to share emotional moments. This shows what a deep influence the Wangye worship has on the people of Taiwan. Salt from the vast sea has nourished this fertile land. The memories of the children of the salt lands are carried on the salt-laden winds. Let us wish good fortune for these salt lands. In addition to the precious cultural heritage of Wangye worship, this area on the southwest coast of Taiwan holds still more memories of the past for the children of the salt lands. Jingzaijiao's Laidong salt fields are Taiwan's oldest tile-paved salt pans. Today you can still see scenes of salt production being carried out in the traditional way. When the ancient salt industry on the southwest coast overlapped with Wangye worship, it produced the lively Salt of Peace Festival. This festival, held in the plaza in front of Nkstemple Complete Temple every autumn, mixes the local salt industry and Wangye worship. More than 20 Taoist priests gather in the plaza in front of the temple to hold a Taoist fortune-bringing and disaster-dispelling assembly, praying for good fortune in the coming year. This is the essential ritual of the annual Salt of Peace Festival. When the group of Taoist priests enter the temple to burn incense and chant sacred texts, the Salt of Peace fortune-bringing and disaster-dispelling ceremony for the coming year has begun. First, the group of priests ritually purifies the altar to get rid of any surrounding negative energy. Then the priests invite gods from all directions to come to the ceremonial site. They carefully execute a complicated ritual, all of which is to pray to heaven for blessings and freedom from disaster. The chief Taoist priest holds up the 7-star sword and writes characters in the air, in a ritual to ask heaven to bless the success of the Salt of Peace ceremony. Finally, the group of priests chant Taoist scriptures for fortune-bringing and disaster dispelling, and present offerings to the various gods, after which the fortune-bringing ceremony comes to a satisfactory close. The Salt of Peace bestowed by heaven in the prayer for blessing ceremony has become the favorite of visitors coming to the Salt of Peace festival. They line up in a very long queue to get the special Salt of Peace bags. The tall piles of salt in the temple plaza represent blessings for the visitors, who can take some good fortune home with them in the Salt of Peace bags. The Salt of Peace festival also includes various kinds of traditional folk performances. Some are solemn and respectful, and full of power and beauty. Some of them are more accessible to the public. These performances help visitors better appreciate these precious traditional skills. Of course, some of the exciting performances have a modern feel. There are also street snacks and special gifts from the Southwest Coast region. There are salt industry introductions, decorations, and carefully designed interactive games. Visitors can go into Nkstemple Temple and pray for peace and safety. The Jingzaijiao tile-paved salt pans have an on-site guide service, and visitors can experience the fun of salt production. All kinds of activities are going on at the same time during the Salt of Peace Festival, making the Southwest Coastal region extraordinarily festive. There is a museum in the Southwest Coast National Scenic Area that displays many artifacts related to Wangya culture. Visitors can go there to learn more about the significance behind the ceremonies and festivals. In a close two-way relationship, the temple and the people depend on each other. As beliefs pass the test of time, they produce sophisticated customs and temple art. Time has gradually transformed these salty lands, and more vitality and energy have been generated through the traditional beliefs. The travelers who come here from faraway places every year add another layer of excitement to these salt lands. The preservation of a good wetlands ecology allows tourists to come into close contact with nature and fully experience the coastal scenery of the Southwest seashore. Following the flight of the migratory birds, we arrive at the southwest of Taiwan. Here, the culture and the ceremonial rituals of Wangya worship enrich this beautiful land. With the arrival of a new year, people gather once again at Nkstemple Temple to pray for a year of peace and safety. A rich history enlivens this land on the Southwest Coast and beckons you for a visit to experience this land of old tradition and new life.